So my buddy Michael, Mr. Tobin, Dr. Tobin, has now gone berserk and created a 3-part blog, which you might have seen, all about getting you to get out of your comfort space and go out there and do extreme traveling. And I just want to pick it apart because I want to start with the first thing that he uses as one of the expressions, which is called that when he got to the Everest base camp up in the Himalayas, he referred to it as colder than a witch's tit. Now, first of all, I don't know how many of you have ever met a witch. I haven't. Second of all, I don't really know, do witches have tits? And if they have tits, how many do they have? And how would you even know what temperature it is? So before we even get to that, I just want to tell you that when you read Michael's blog, he's talking about cold as in minus 20 Fahrenheit, or if you're European, that would be about minus 28 Celsius. That's super cold. And just to show you what kind of a maniac my buddy is, take a look at this video. This is Michael when he first arrived at the Everest base camp. As you probably unfortunately will see in the video, he only has one arm. And nonetheless, there he is doing one-arm push-ups. Look at it. 1, 2, 3, 4. I can't even count. I'm already out of breath. This is unfreaking believable. Anyhow, so let's forget Michael for a minute. I got distracted. Let's get back to what is actually called cold as a witch's tit. Now, the problem is, I have this little device which we do not sell on our website. It's called a nipple nipper. And you could just put it on the tip of a nipple and it will instantly give you the temperature. But it's probably not a good idea to just kind of walk around and keep trying it randomly. You have to find a real witch to know if that's somebody who you need to figure out as cold as a witch's tit, that's the right tit that you've tapped into. So I did a little homework and I went back to the 1600s in Salem, Massachusetts, and I found from the experts, how do you find a witch? Because once we know who it is, then it's really easy to figure out the temperature. So the first thing I found was they gave me 10 guidelines. One is you make a witch's cake and you feed it to her. But since the ingredients were so grotesque, I'm going to just skip over that one. The next one is a lot more practical. Simply take the suspected witch that you might have in mind, put her on one side of a scale, and then stack Bibles on the other side of the scale. And if your potential witch is not exactly the same weight as those Bibles, there you go. She's a witch. Confirmed. Now, of course, the question is, do you use the King James? Do you use Gideon? Could you use a digital Bible? I don't know. They didn't really deal with that in the days of Salem, but that's what we have. So let's see if there's something more than that. The next thing they suggest here is check for moles, birthmarks, scars, or extra nipples. Do you get that? Extra nipples. In other words, they write here that these are all marks of the devil. But if you need more proof, try pricking the devil's mark with a blade. If it doesn't bleed or hurt when it's pricked, you definitely have a witch on your hands. But what I want to know is, what are called extra nipples? How many can we expect? And do extra nipples have the same temperature as a regular witch's tit? Or are they different because they're extra? So maybe we just sort of use the little nipple nipper and figure out the average. If not, we can say, observe them if they talk to themselves. This was a clear sign in the days of Salem. If somebody during the witch hunt was talking to herself, like the one they write here, a woman called Sarah Good was damned, partially based on the fact that she was sometimes muttering to herself, and she was hanged in July 1692 for being a witch. Okay, but just make sure when you grab them that they don't really have in their other ear a little Bluetooth, or maybe they're really something that they're talking on the mobile phone, and maybe they're really not talking to themselves. So how about asking them to recite the Lord's Prayer? Now, if they don't know how to do that, they are definitely guilty. You might want to try this on your mother-in-law. You might want to try this on your congresswoman or the people who collect your taxes. Just pop it on them out of the blue. Hey, quick, quote the Lord's Prayer. And if they mumble or stumble or can't deliver, fry them. Okay, how about, and this one is the one I love the most, how about if you have a hard of hearing elderly woman? So here they bring a case of a woman named Rebecca Nurse, who was 71 years old and had a problem hearing. And when they asked her, "Are you a witch?" because she didn't answer, they killed her as a witch. So if that's really the test, you don't necessarily need to try this on elderly women. You could even try this on your wife. Stand 5 miles away and whisper, "Honey, are you a witch?" And if you don't get that answer right away, then you know you have a witch on hand. In which case, you could quickly take the temperature and we'll have the answer to our question. Okay, so now that you're armed with the how to go find out, I'd like you to take a look in your community, see what kind of reading you can get on the temperature as cold as a witch's tit, and send it in to us so we can post your answers. Thank you very much.